Welcome into Rogue Football. I'm your host, Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Fired up to get into my top 32 big board for the 2024 NFL draft class. Going to do this every month until the 2024 draft rolls around in late April. So this top 32, it is my top 32 overall prospects, right? And there's going to be guys that are just on the outside that are very close to being in the top 32. The way I look at this class from about 26 overall to 40 is all very close for me. There's not a whole lot of separation, but we're going to get into my top 32 overall prospects here. I'm going to go 1 through 10, break it down, 11 through 20, break it down, 21 through 32, break it down. That's how we're going to do it here today. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Again, thanks so much for being here. So, number 1 overall, wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State. Number 2, tight end Brock Bowers, Georgia. 3, quarterback Caleb Williams, USC. 4, Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. 5, wide receiver Malik Neighbors, LSU. 6, defensive lineman Jerzon Johnny Newton out of Illinois. 7, quarterback Drake May, North Carolina. 8, Olu Fashanu, left tackle, Penn State. 9, wide receiver Rome Odunze out of Washington. And 10, offensive lineman Troy Fatanu out of Washington. 2 Washington guys in the top 10, national championship appearance for them this year. So let's roll through this top 10. At 1 overall, Marvin Harrison Jr. is at the top. I believe from a talent perspective that Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers, and Caleb Williams all have generational talent. But the reason Marvin Harrison Jr. is at the top is because he is not only a generational talent, he is a generational player because he has put his talent together. You know, the size, the speed, the overall athleticism, the ability to run routes, the ability to separate down the field, to show late hands. Marvin Harrison Jr. not only has the elite physical traits, but he is elite when it comes to being a wide receiver. He's going to come in and immediately be one of the top wide receivers in the NFL, in my opinion. That's how skilled he is. That's how polished he is as a receiver. And again, how naturally talented. Obviously, you can see the fact that his dad is Marvin Harrison Sr., one of the best route runners of all time. Marvin Harrison Jr. brings that to the field, but he also has better size, better athleticism than his dad had, you know, coming out of Syracuse back in the day. Tight end Brock Bowers at number 2 overall, similar to Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously, tight end is not the most valuable position in the NFL, but he has generational traits. He is unbelievably fast. He has unbelievable want to out there, desire, and he is a really good space blocker already. I think he's a type of guy that can be a true multiple threat tight end for you, a guy that can actually go out there and block for you, but also be an elite receiver. So I think that Brock Bowers brings just a complete game to the table at the tight end position. Now, do you want to use him as a blocker primarily? No. You want to get the ball in this guy's hands because he can take screens to the house. He is an intermediate threat as well and a deep threat. He can be a 3-level threat for you from the tight end spot, from the Y tight end spot, from F, you know, as a move tight end, move him around the formation, get him in big time matchups, and you're going to enjoy the results. Quarterback Caleb Williams at number 3 overall. Why is he at number 3? Just like the top 2 guys, I think he has generational talent. This might be the best in terms of arm talent, escapability that I've seen, right? A guy that no matter where he is on the field, he can put the football anywhere he wants from any position on the field, any platform, any arm angle. It's unbelievable. He's also got incredible escapability, pocket presence, pocket maneuverability, playmaking, just doing some absolutely dazzling things out on the football field. The reason I don't think that he is a generational quarterback is because he needs to grow operationally from within the pocket. He is not as unrefined as a lot of people would like to suggest. We like to pick holes in the game of players that have been on the national scene for a long time, of prospects that have been around. You know, you start just nitpicking. And I think Caleb Williams has been nitpicked to death a little bit. But for me, I still think he is an unbelievable prospect. At 4 overall, Joe Alt, the left tackle out of Notre Dame. He's only 20 years old, incredibly refined as a tackle, has very good athleticism, very good length. He is big, he is tall, he has good strength. I don't think he has a great power profile, but with his length and his technical refinement, his understanding of assignment sound football at the tackle position, I think that Joe Alt is clearly right there in the top 5 of this class at 5 overall. Wide receiver Malik Nabers. Nabers is the best separator in this class, bar none, in my opinion. He has unbelievable acceleration off the line of scrimmage. The ability to get in and out of his breaks is unparalleled in this class, and he has very good hands. He has great ball tracking. He will be a 3-level threat. You can get him the ball quickly at the line of scrimmage, intermediate parts of the field, has a very good feel for sitting down in zones, and then obviously taking the top off the defense, being able to, again, get in and out of those breaks. He can hit you on double moves. He can run digs. He can do everything you want down the field and do it at a very high level. The only little knock I have on him is some focus drops, but overall, Malik Nabers is a fantastic prospect at 6 overall. Defensive lineman Jerzon Newton out of Illinois. This guy, he's not going to be the biggest. He's not going to be the tallest, have the best length. There's going to be teams that don't like his arm length. But for me, he's going to come in, and he has good proportional length, in my opinion, at about 6'2", maybe a little bit shorter. He's going to come in. He's going to be a very good run defender for you no matter where you line him up, whether it's 5-tech, 3-tech. You can move him all across the line of scrimmage. And he's going to be a devastating interior pass rusher, interior penetrator at the next level. A guy that has all the hand moves, has incredible core strength, bend, and flexibility at his size. I think Jerzon Newton is going to be one of the best interior penetrators in the NFL in short order. Quarterback Drake May at number 7 overall. I love his game as well. He's got more of that prototypical build, big, tall quarterback that can stand there in the pocket. But he's also got incredible creation capacity, creation ability. His ability not only to throw from odd arm angles, to fit the ball into tight windows, but he also can extend plays with his legs. Like, he's a very good athlete at his size. He can run around and make plays. He's got some Josh Allen to him, not in his overall size, but in his willingness to just put his body on the line and go get the job done for his football team. I think Drake May has a huge ceiling in the NFL. At 8, offensive tackle Olu Fashanu out of Penn State, left tackle. Fashanu is a guy that I think has been nitpicked a little bit to death as well, but the fact of the matter is he's not as refined as Joe Alt, and for me, he's not as refined as any of the prospects that we've talked about so far. His hands are a little bit low in pass protection at times. Now, does he have generational physical ability? I think he does. But I think he's a little bit behind some of these other prospects in terms of where he is from a technical standpoint at his position, which makes sense. He didn't start playing football till later in high school. So a guy that has unlimited potential. I'm still really high on Olu Fashanu, but not quite as refined as some of these other guys who also have incredible talent. 9 overall, Rome Odunze out of Washington has not officially declared for the draft yet, but Odunze has an incredible combination of size, speed, athleticism, natural feel for route running and separation, shows late hands, has the ability to go up and get the football at a really high level in contested catch situations. I think, 6'3", 217 pounds, a guy that is going to absolutely thrive at the next level. At 10, rounding out this top 10, offensive tackle out of Washington, Troy Fautanu. I don't think you have to peg him at tackle. You can put him at guard, whatever you want to do. He has great length, 34 plus inch arms, according to reports. He has great athleticism. He is a nasty offensive lineman. And the fact of the matter is, from a technical standpoint with his hands, he's the most aggressive and the most skilled offensive lineman in this class. A guy that has the snatch trap. He can stab you. He can do a lot of different things with independent hands. And so I think, if you want to talk about maybe he's too aggressive out on an island, put him at guard and he's going to thrive, right? I think that Troy Fautanu is underrated in this class by a lot of folks. I know most people kind of have him in the first round range. I think he is one of the best prospects in this class, one of the top 10 guys. Now we'll get through 11 through 20 right here. Wide receiver Keon Coleman out of Florida State, I have at number 11. Edge Chop Robinson at 12. Cooper DeJean at 13, the cornerback, defensive back out of Iowa. Edge Jared Verse out of Florida State at 14. Edge Latu out of UCLA at 15. At 16 overall, quarterback Jaden Daniels out of LSU. Heisman Trophy winner. Congrats. Wide receiver Adonai Mitchell out of Texas by way of Georgia at 17. At 18, defensive tackle Byron Murphy. At 19, cornerback Terrion Arnold. At 20, cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry, both of those guys from Georgia. And then at 21, cornerback Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. We're going to talk about all these guys right now. Going back at the top, 11, Keon Coleman. I think he has also been nitpicked to death. He's a guy that was playing through injury for a lot of the 2023 season, a guy that folks say he can't separate. I think if you watch the tape of him healthy over the last 2 years at Michigan State and Florida State, and you come to the conclusion that he can't separate, you don't know what you're watching, quite frankly. Keon Coleman has the ability to separate. At 6'4", 220 pounds, he is a quick twitch athlete. He's going to run sub 4.5 in all likelihood, and you see him on the punt returns and with the ball in his hands, and as a route runner, the ability to start and stop at a high level for someone that is that large. For a human that is that large, it is rare to see his start and stop ability, his quickness in and out of breaks. I think Keon Coleman is going to be a stud at the next level, some of the best hands in this class. Bottom line, at 12, edge Chop Robinson out of Penn State. This is another player that I don't know why he's consensusly like behind players like Dallas Turner, who we haven't even talked about yet. For me, he has the most pass rush ability in this class at edge. His ability to explode off the line of scrimmage makes the offensive line, makes the rest of his defensive line playing with him look like they are moving in quicksand. He flies off the line. He has incredible bend, incredible balance, the ability to, keep top speed going through the top of the arc. He can win on the outside track. He can win through you, and he can bounce inside and win. I think that he has shown enough for me to get fired up about him as a run defender as well. Chop Robinson, never going to be the biggest, strongest with the best arm length, but he is, in my opinion, the best edge rusher in this draft class. The guy that has the most potential to be putting up 15, 20 sacks in a season is Chop Robinson. And he just turned 21 last week. So happy belated birthday to Chop Robinson. Defensive back Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. Look, I think he can play outside corner. If you want to play him in base on the outside end zone and then kick him into nickel in nickel situations, have him play safety, he is the best tackler at corner in this class, bar none. He's also got very good instincts, incredible ball skills, his ability to pick off passes, return them to the house. I think Cooper DeJean is going to be a playmaker in the back end for your defense if you know how to use him properly, which I don't think should be very difficult. At 14 overall, edge Jared Verse out of Florida State by way of Albany. Jared Verse has the best, in my opinion, speed to power, explosiveness and power off the line of scrimmage in this class. I think he has devastating athleticism, devastating power that he can unleash on you with his hands and his get off. And I think he's shown high effort, big time motor, good run defender. I think he's going to be a good pass rusher at the next level as well. At 15, Laiatu Latu, the most refined pass rusher in this class. He did have to medically retire at Washington, came back UCLA, has been healthy for the last 2 years, has been a game wrecker for the last 2 years for the Bruins. Unparalleled refinement with his hand usage, with his pass rush prowess, but I think he's more of a very good athlete. He's not going to have elite length. So this is a guy that, while he is probably the most productive edge in this class, I think that he doesn't necessarily have the ceiling of some of these other prospects we've talked about. And the medical background is concerning, right? Having to medically retire is always something that teams are going to have to figure out how they feel about that. But Laiatu Latu, fantastic prospect out of UCLA. At 16, quarterback Jaden Daniels. Look, it took him longer to develop than it has a Caleb Williams or a Drake May. He is an older prospect. He's been around the block, but he has developed. He is an incredible playmaker with his legs, probably the best deep ball in this class from within the pocket. I think he's grown a tremendous amount operationally over the last couple years at LSU, and I think that he's going to be a really, really dynamic NFL quarterback for whoever drafts him. I just don't have him quite in the same range as a Caleb Williams or a Drake May, again, because you compare him at 20 years old to Caleb Williams and Drake May at 20 years old, it's not a comparison, right? He has developed. He has gotten to the point where he's ready to come in and play some football in the NFL. But for me, I don't see the same ceiling as I do with those two players, or floor, quite frankly. At 17 overall, wide receiver Adonai Mitchell out of Texas. This is going to be higher than most people have Mitchell. But when I evaluate his game, what is it missing? This is a guy that knows how to release off the line of scrimmage, both with his feet and with his hands. This is a guy that runs crisp routes, creates separation at a high level. He's 6'4", about 200 pounds, plays the game physically. He's a willing and able run blocker, which you don't see from a lot of young receivers. A guy that has some of the best hands in the class up there with Keon Coleman. He just does not drop the football. He can go up and get it away from his frame. He can catch the football in tight windows. He can run the entire route tree. He can put double moves on you. I think Adonai Mitchell has been a victim of A, two run-first offenses in his college career, and B, transferring over to Texas. While it was an offense that suited him, it was not an offense that needed to feature him as the 1A, right? He was the 1B behind Xavier Worthy, who had already been there, already established a connection with Quinn Ewers. So I think that Mitchell, underrated in this class in a big way for me. I think Byron Murphy, the Texas defensive lineman, is also very underrated. He is my top interior defensive lineman from Texas over T'Vondre Sweat because I think he's going to meet a more dominant interior pass rusher, interior penetrator. When you talk about creating disruption through the middle, that is the most difficult thing for quarterbacks to overcome, and Byron Murphy can do that with the best of them. He's very quick off the line. He's got a bunch of hand moves to get past interior offensive linemen, and he has an unstoppable motor, right? Both against the run and as a pass rusher, Byron Murphy gets the job done. Now we have our little cluster here of cornerbacks. I have these guys behind a Cooper DeJean because I think Cooper DeJean, again, can play corner, can play nickel, can play safety, and I think he can do them all at a very high level. But Terrion Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Nate Wiggins, I have them all clumped here because I think it's kind of a pick your flavor type of deal. Terrion Arnold is newer to the position, but I think he has the quickest feet, maybe the best natural ability to play corner. But he's not as refined as a Kool-Aid McKinstry or a Nate Wiggins in coverage. He hasn't been doing it as long. He's a little grabby. I think his instincts are still kind of developing at the cornerback position. But I think he could play inside for you. I think he could play outside. I think the sky's the limit for Terrion Arnold. At 20, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Again, Terrion Arnold's teammate. McKinstry is just patient. He is smooth. He's tall. He's got long arms. He's got good athleticism. I think that he is the safest corner in this class, quite frankly. I think that you draft him and he is going to be a good corner for you, whether you want to play man coverage, whether you want to play primarily zone coverage. He's going to be really damn good. I just don't know that he has the same ceiling as a Terrion Arnold or a Nate Wiggins or even a Cooper DeJean for that matter. But I think he's a fantastic prospect in his own right, who I think, people just get excited about some of the traits of Terrion Arnold, some of the traits of Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, who is 6'2", 185 pounds. My biggest question for Nate Wiggins is not his coverage ability, because I do think he is a fantastic cover corner, maybe the best cover corner right now in this class. But at 185 pounds, you see sometimes, the strength is not there when trying to come downhill and make plays against the run. And I know the effort's there, and he's improved as a run defender. And he shows the ability to chase down runs late in the play, right? Like game-saving plays, touchdown-saving plays, chasing ball carriers down. But I still do worry in base situations, our team's just going to say, we're going to make him tackle. We're going to make him tackle all day. I think that good offenses might try to do that, and we'll see how that plays out. But I do think Nate Wiggins is probably the best cover corner in this class right now. Getting into this next group of players, 22 through 32, Dallas Turner at edge out of Alabama. We've got 23, another Alabama player, offensive tackle J.C. Latham, 24, offensive tackle Amarius Mims out of Georgia. 25, offensive tackle Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. I think he might also be guard. 26, wide receiver Brian Thomas out of LSU. 27, wide receiver Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. At 28, center/interior offensive lineman Jackson Powers Johnson. At 29, center Zach Frazier, I think he could also play guard potentially, out of West Virginia. Wide receiver Troy Franklin at 30 overall, out of Oregon. 31 overall wide receiver Xavier Worthy out of Texas. And 32, rounding out this top 32 big board, is running back Trey Benson out of Florida State. So let's go ahead and dive into these prospects here, 22 through 32 on my board. Edge Dallas Turner, I think this guy is the limit for this kid. He's already shown that he's a good run defender. I think that the pass rush arsenal and skill set is developing. He's a very good space player, dropping into space, a natural 3-4 outside linebacker. But I just don't see the pass rush prowess yet at this point. I think primarily he has won with his athleticism, with his length, which he has great length and he has very good power for his size. So that's why I have him at 22 overall. At 23, J.C. Latham, there's just some moments on tape where they make you a little nervous with J.C. Latham. But for the most part, I mean, 90% of the reps this guy has, maybe 95, are fantastic. 6'6", 330 to 360 pounds. I think he added like 30 pounds this offseason and played very well. A very good athlete at that size. Shows good length. Shows a great demeanor in the running game. A very good pass protector. I do think he's a little overly aggressive at times in the run game. You see him get out over his toes and lunge and end up not getting the job done. But when he's on his game, he's as good as there is, and he's only 20 years old. So I think you definitely see room for growth there. Amarius Mims, he would be higher on this list if we had more experience. Just has not played a lot of football. And there have been lingering issues, injuries over the last couple years for Amarius Mims. So for me, when I talk about him, I'm a little worried that I haven't seen more tape, a little worried that he's not able to get on the field more. But the sky is the limit for his ability at right tackle. I think he can play right tackle or left tackle. He's 6'7". He's 330 plus pounds, got great length, dominant tape when he is on the field for the most part. Yes, he will grow from a technical standpoint, or need to grow from a technical standpoint to reach his ceiling. But there's not many humans on planet Earth as physically gifted as Amarius Mims to play tackle in the NFL. At 25 overall offensive tackle / interior offensive lineman, Talise Fuaga, I do project him best at guard. I do think he can play tackle for you. The main reason that I do not have him higher is because sometimes I see some slow plodding feet, both when it comes to protecting the outside edge, the outside arc, and getting crossed up by guys doing Euro steps and stutter steps and then crossing his face and getting inside. I just don't necessarily think Talise Fuaga has the feet to be an elite tackle, but I do think that he's an incredible run blocker, the best run blocker in this class, quite frankly. And the sky's the limit for him as a guard, but I think the feet are a little slow, a little plodding on the outside. At 26 overall, wide receiver Brian Thomas. This is the type of player that if he went back to school, refined his route running a little bit, and showed that he is going to improve when it comes to focus drops, he could probably be like a top 10 pick. That's the type of talent he has. At 6'4", over 200 pounds, blazing speed, has a huge catch radius, led college football in touchdowns this year. The sky's the limit for Brian Thomas and what he can do. I just want to see a little bit more refinement from him before I would have him in the same range as like an Adonai Mitchell, Keon Coleman, Malik Neighbors, etc. in this class. And up next at 27, Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. Another incredible talent when it comes to just the physical profile. He's listed at 6'3". I've heard he's more like 6'1", 6'2", but well over 220 pounds. A guy that at that speed, or at that height and at that size, had the fastest speed of any ball carrier on the planet this year, college or NFL. Xavier Legette did. And you see his ability to get out of breaks. You see his ability to high point the football at his size. I think the sky is the limit, but late breakout, right? A guy that came to South Carolina as a quarterback, converted to wide receiver, has taken tremendous strides. But when you look at the success of wide receivers at the next level, breakout age is a big indicator, and his breakout did come late in his career. So something to keep in mind, but I still would not quit on Xavier Legette as a top 32 overall prospect in this class. Up next, 28 overall center Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. This is a guy that's played center. He's played guard. He's done it both at a high level, has the athleticism to pull to get to the second level as well, has tremendous hand usage, block framing, very smart assignment sound football player. I think Zach Frazier up next at 30 overall out of West Virginia is a little bit better of an athlete. It'll be interesting to see how they test if Zach Frazier is able to test. He broke his leg late in the season, which is another reason I have him just behind Jackson Powers Johnson. But I think both of these guys are tremendous interior offensive line prospects, probably center only, but I do think you've seen some guys that you probably pegged as center only come in and be able to play guard as well at the NFL level. Love both of these two prospects. I think they're going to be fantastic. Wide receiver Troy Franklin at 30 overall. He is unbelievably gifted. 6'3", about 187, maybe 190 pounds. Just able to create separation on all three levels. My only reason that I do not have him higher on this list is because the hand issues, focus drops have been something that have popped up in 2 out of the last 3 seasons for Troy Franklin. His drop rate has been over 10%, and that's something I simply just cannot get over. I would still draft him early, early second round, late first round, be fired up about it, but it's something you're going to have to work on to improve. And the one good thing you can say about it is in 2022, that was not an issue that popped up. So it's something that he can improve upon. It's something he's shown the ability to improve upon, but I think it's going to have to be a focus for him every single year, making sure the hands are on point. And quite frankly, the next guy on the list, I feel the same way about Xavier Worthy. If his hands were more consistent, he would be higher on this list because he's going to run a 4.3 40. He might be the fastest receiver in this class, and he can be a 3-level threat with ability to catch screen passes, get open anywhere with any route on the field. He's just so fast and quick and a great separator. But again, the hands are a little bit of an issue. At 32, my first running back here, Trey Benson out of Florida State. This is a guy that I think, while most people probably have him close to the top of the running back list, I think he's a little underrated because not only does he have very good vision, very good size, 6'1", over 220 pounds, very good vision. I think he shows the ability to be an impact pass catcher, but his top speed is special. And when you have a guy that has vision, has power and contact balance, and then can run away from opposing defenders, linebackers, safeties, even some corners, that can be really special at the next level. And so that's why I have him at 32 overall. I think he has a pretty complete game, can be a 3-down back, a workhorse back, and also someone who can bust off the long runs of 60, 70, 80 yards for you because he makes a guy miss in the hole, runs through a tackle at the second level, then it's off to the races. So I think Trey Benson is a really good running back prospect out of Florida State. And that'll do it for my top 32. We got through it in just under 30 minutes. Really appreciate y'all tuning in here. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Again, really appreciate y'all tuning in. Have a good one.